You saucy lot, hope you're alright. It's your boy, the Blade Runner. Another end to another lovely day. Anyway, the other day I had one of my boys' best mates in. He's got that real kind of afro textured hair. So he basically did a cheeky little skin fade with a grade 2 on top, but with the grain, not against. Anyway, hope you enjoy the video. Anyway, I'm out of here. See you later. Bye bye. And don't forget to subscribe. See ya. Got this righteous dude in my chair. He's one of my son's best mates, and we're going to start getting on the whole wave thing. He's never really done waves before, so we're going to start working towards that. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to brush the hair out using a Jack Dean beard brush, just going with the grain. Now I've got the grade 2 on the Gamme Ergos. Again, going with the grain. If you go against the grain with a grade 2 on it, you're going to have a totally different haircut. It will be short. So yeah, just looking at the way the hair wants to grow and working with that direction. Still using my beard brush, just take out any excess. So I'm cutting a section, seeing how it's looking, re-evaluating, and then just going back in with the clippers. So obviously to get the crispy waves like 360 G's does, that's going to take a long time. So yeah, we're just going to start working on that and seeing how the hair transforms over the next few months. Okay, I'm looking at the way the hair wants to grow through the crown. Just following that through. Well, I put a grade 1.5 on the clipper. The clipper is closed, and I'm just going to be freeing up those runways on the side. Gives me plenty of room to actually fade. So I'm working vertical with just a tiny little flick out as I get towards the top. That's just going to help me with the fade. Yeah, I find the Gamme Ergo, it's awesome. I mean, you can get the X Ergo, which is, I think it's got slightly more power, but I find the power on the normal Ergo is fantastic. The only thing I didn't really like about it was the blade, so I switched it up for a Gamme Fusion. Because the blade you get with the normal Ergos, it's quite a flat blade. And yeah, I like a little bit of a slight round to the blade, and you get that with the Fusion. It's more of a taper blade. Okay, so I've run that to 1.5, put the 2 back on. Just taking out any tiny little edges. Just really just flicking it out. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on the scalp. Because as you get more and more experienced, you'll learn that, you know, there's certain times when you put pressure on the scalp and certain times when you don't. Because I'm just fading that through. Yeah, I'm just keeping it very soft on the head. Right, so I've taken the guard off now. So I've got it closed. Just going to put my first skin line in. Yeah, the one thing I don't understand these days when people are putting the skin lines in, they put it in so hard, they'll use like their detailer and they'll put the hardest line in, and yeah, when you're kind of making a video, it looks very, very sharp. The problem is, you got to get that line out. You don't need to go in quite as hard. If you go in too hard, make too much of a hard line, you're gonna make it slightly more difficult for yourself getting that line out. So I'll just use the clippers rather than the trimmers. So I'm happy with that skin line that I've put in. Now I'm going to move on to the next stage, grade 1 open. Now look at this, the way I'm actually putting that grade 1 onto the head. I'm not just moving it up about 1/4 of an inch. I'm actually giving myself a decent gap. So when I want to fade that line out, I've got plenty of room to actually be doing it. You know, that's nearly like an inch that actually what I've just done with that. So I'm giving myself plenty of room. I've seen a lot of barbers, they start going through the transitions and they do like 1/4 of an inches between each transition, and all you're going to do is you're going to make yourself, it's going to make life a little more difficult for yourself. But yeah, I'm giving plenty of room. I'm really going in, setting around an inch. Right, that's grade 1, closed it, and now I'm just going to start softening that line down. What I was saying earlier about knowing when to actually push in and when not to push in. This is the time I'm really pushing in because I want to get that grade 1 as pure as possible. I want to get it to that grade 1 length. So pushing it in where that line is. You know, it's not going to get rid of it totally, but what you're doing, you're preparing yourself for the next grade, will be the 0.5. So just blending that closed one into the closed one open. Right, so grade 0.5 open. Using my beard brush as well, just to clear any little remnants of hair away. This is the guard, I've said this before, I think it is such an important guard. If you use that 0.5 properly, it will make your fades a hell of a lot easier. You know, it's not about just dabbing over that line a little bit. You've really got to push in on this. So first of all, I've got it open. That's going to kill a little bit more of that mass away. And then what I'm going to do in a moment is I'm going to put it on, but closed. And then just pushing that 0.5 into that one. Alright, so now I've closed it up, still with the 0.5 on the clipper, just carrying on knocking that line out. And you're going to find that in general when you actually do this, it's harder to get that line out the back of the head. That tends to be because the hair is a lot more dense around the back than on the sides. So I know in a little while I'm going to have to take that 0.5 off, especially concerning the back. But because I've put the work in with the 0.5, when I'm actually using no guard, it's just going to make my life a hell of a lot easier. You know, you should never be trying to skip any steps or just doing stuff half-heartedly. Every section you do, you want to get that as good as possible before you work on to the next transition. So yeah, really pushing in on that, because don't forget, you're trying to get rid of that skin line. So as I say in a lot of the videos, when you're taking that actual, when you're using the 0.5, you've got to imagine like rubbing out a bit of pencil on a bit of paper. You know, when you get the rubber and you go over it once, it doesn't disappear. Just keep going over it and it will disappear in the end. So I've got no guard on the clipper, but I've opened it up to about 3/4 now. If I'm finding that it's still not getting rid of that skin line, then I can just drop it down a notch. That's what I like about the Gamme Ergos, you know, click levers in general. You know exactly where you are. So I'm just closing it down slightly more. Okay, just going to be balding out. These are the Babyliss Pro Foils. If you like a heavier foil, this is the one to get. And then, yeah, the trimmer of choice, just finishing it off, is the Wahl Sterling 2s. Again, it just ends up just taking out that little edge. You know, this trimmer, it's not the sharpest there is, and that's why I find it works. This, you know, if you're using like an FX or something like that to actually get that line out, if you're not careful, you can put another line in just because it's so closely gapped. This trimmer, the Wahl Sterling 2, it's not gap short at all. You can't even adjust it. So for just taking out those extra little edges, I think it's brilliant. It's such an underused trimmer. Just taking off any tiny little edges. Nice tiny little line there. Just want to just finish it off. Now, just because you finish with one section, don't think you can't ever go back to it. Just using the corners of the clipper. Right, I'm just going to edge him up slightly. Using the Babyliss, it's the UK version of the Gold Effects. It's called the Pro Supermotor Skeleton Pro or something crazy. It's a long title. I just think of them as the Gold Effects. But when you're lining someone up, make sure you're looking at them directly. If you look at it from an angle, when you actually do the line up, when you look at it again, it won't be straight. So get your client to look straight at you. Working from the middle and then working out. Yeah, it's really worth spending just those couple of minutes just getting that line up right. So what are people's views on enhancements? I don't really like enhancements myself, but that's just a personal thing. I know a lot of barbers do like the enhancement, but I prefer to actually get the shape in with the clippers. Okay, just going to blast it through. Just going to blast those loose bits of hair off using that beard brush again. So there you have it, guys. I really hope you like it. Hopefully, stay tuned, keep subscribed. Anyway, I'm out of here. I'll see you later. How's that, you beast?
It looks lovely. The shape
cool.
up as well. Yeah.
Feel like a sexy beast there. You didn't take on the world.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all right then.